I think this will be the first video where I actually get to get my hands dirty. My name's Mike.
I'm Marilla.
I'm Memphis.
And I'm Wyatt. I'm named Walter.
This is Walter, and we are building a farmhouse. I think it looks pretty good, Walter. By 56 rough kitchen. Sharing the
outdoors.
And with that lovely intro, welcome to this week's episode of building a farmhouse from scratch.
From scratch.
So today what we got going on is we are going to install some windows on either side of our range. They're like a 12-inch by 44 window. We had them custom made because we found these little transoms and we turned them vertical and just had them hung and kind of hinged like a door. So on each side of our range we'll actually be able to open these little windows and get some light and some airflow in the range. So these guys right here are going on this wall, and you can see the pipe right there. That is where the center of the hood for the range is going to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get it measured up and position the windows probably center from the counter height to the ceiling height, and I'll probably break them right even there, and then I'll put about 6 inches in between the edge of the range and the beginning of the window. Now this is going to take up most of this wall and not allow us to do any floating shelves, but I almost kind of think that's going out of style anyway, and a smoother wall with the opening windows will be more of like a classic traditional farmhouse, which is kind of what we're going for. And let's get started. All right, it's going to be a super loud video because we have the garage guys finishing up and we got the workers on the roof laying the shingles, so lots of hammering and nails going in. We measured our windows, and now we're going to add 6 inches to that measurement because I'm going to have a double stack 2x4 on the top and bottom to frame out the window. First time when we had our inspection for the OSB sheeting, it failed because they had not enough nails in the exterior going to the 2x4, so they came back twice and they just loaded the house with nails, like top to bottom. So I tried hammering this stud a little bit to just see if I could tweak it and pop it off, thinking there's a couple nails behind it. On the back side of this wall, there's like probably 30 nails in each of these 2x4s in the 4 feet that I'm wanting to pull them off. So I'm gonna make this easier, and I'm gonna pull out my portable handsaw. Instead of sitting there and just nailing it with a hammer over and over and trying to pry the thing off and moving the wall, it'll be much easier just to take it through with a chainsaw and then fine tune the frame after we're cut through. And that is how you do it with a portable saw. So much easier. So as you can see, this was a seam joint on the OSB, so it had like, let's look at the nails on this thing, just to give you an idea of why I used the chainsaw. Look right here. This is how many nails I would have had to try and pry out. I probably could eventually pried it out, but would I have shifted the wall or put a bow in it, or it would have probably loosened up the other 2x4s just as much trying to bang that thing. So chopped it out with a saw. I left enough space on my OSB. Now we're ready to rock on. So now I'm going to clean up the cut and stack my 2x4s on the bottom. Then I can set my windows in there, and I'll have plenty of room to go side to side to center them where I want them. And then I'll put the top framing in, and then once I have them centered and positioned where I want them, then I'll just close in the side frames with just a single stick, single 2x4. I got them roughed in top to bottom. It'll hold the windows now. So now what I'm gonna do is place the windows up there, put a little like 2x4 maybe right there and kind of overlap the window, hold them in place, and then I'm gonna like double, triple check my measurements for the range. Make sure I have the range centered up, because once I get the sides of these windows framed in, then that's where they're at. So my plan is to have the hood right there in between these windows perfectly, and we have a 36-inch hood, or a 36-inch hood and range. So I'm going to try and get that center point exactly where you want it, because once it's placed, it's there. And then the windows will start 6 inches outside the range, and that way it'll give us room. If I use like a 1x3 or 1x4 to trim, it'll have like a little bit of wall in between the range hood and the window trim up top. So that's where we're at. All right, so I know my center width on my range with my cabinetry is going to be 76 inches. That's coming 24 inches off this back adjacent wall for my cabinet width. I'm adding 2 inches for a filler or variable space so the cabinet door can open. And then we're going to put a 30-inch base cabinet, add another 2 inches for my buffer on my range, and then cut my range measurement in half. Of 36-inch range, cut it in half is 18. So add those numbers up together and it lays out to be 76 inches. From this measurement right here, for my center range measurement, it will actually let me space my windows accordingly and get them even just right on each side of the range. That was a success, huge success. They look awesome. As you can tell by my outfit change, it took a little bit longer than I thought. I had to come back the next day and finish them up. They framed up good though. I think they're gonna be awesome. Top will be the range hood. Down below will be the 36-inch range. I measured them out, as you guys saw a little bit in the footage. I did a little bit of buffer, like a couple inches coming off the wall lower cabinet, and then I did a couple inches for the range nook or hole in between the two cabinets on each side. Because on this wall here with the windows, we are not going to do any floating shelves or anything like that. It will be the lower cabinet just to kind of case the range, and then it will be the range hood up top right there with the windows, and it'll actually just be a smooth wall behind there. And then all the uppers will be on the kitchen sink side. So the kitchen sink side of the kitchen will have all the lowers and the uppers, and then right back here, pretty much where the ladder is right now, will be the refrigerator. So that'll be the refrigerator nook right there, and then right beside the refrigerator nook will be a old like Hoosier bread hutch that the wife has. So with all that said, this is the range wall in the kitchen. Yeah, it's gonna be so nice just to be able to open these windows while you're cooking. And then from what I'm thinking is if you crack these open and turn our range vent on, it'll actually kind of help with, instead of sucking air from the whole house, It'll actually creep that air in the windows if you open it and then just go right up with the smoke and blow out. That way it doesn't it doesn't like negative pressure the house when you turn the range vent on. Because if you don't have any air coming in externally and you have a traditional, piped external range hood that actually vents outside the house, it does actually pull air through the whole house. So the windows will be nice. Let's get a close up on them and I'll kind of explain to you guys exactly what I did. All right, so there's the frame out. I did a 2x4 horizontal frame. On the bottom, I doubled it up, and then you have your 2 vertical side pieces. And there is about a 1/4 inch gap all the way around to shim the window out to get it level when we get there. And I didn't use a 2x10 header up top there, right here. I used 2x4s just because the windows are so thin. If you can see this stud right here, it's pretty much offset from the original wall stud like a few inches. So when I cut the one stud out, there was hardly any pressure on it. These are custom windows. These were actually transoms, and we found they were new. We found them on sale. We turned them horizontal, cut some sections off the bottom, and then we just had them cased out just like doors. So they do have traditional door hinges on them right here. As you can see, the door hinges. And so when we go to put the siding on, we will just probably case this out with some brick mold or either 1x4, and then it'll just be lap siding. That is the plan. But I definitely like them. I think it'll be a nice addition outside with a view. Alright guys, thanks for watching. That sums up the video with framing out the new range windows. So super excited about this. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. And we will see you next week on the next Building a Farmhouse from Scratch series video.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors.